Smart strategy, real conversations, bigger margins. This is Chasing the Margin podcast.
Welcome back to Chasing the Margin. Today we have Mr. Paul Dietzler. Paul, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, glad to be here. Thank you.
So, Paul, tell us a little bit about who you are and why you're on the podcast.
Okay, well, I've got a couple different companies here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And so I've got Expo Home Improvement with my partner, Michael, who's also the president of Expo Home Improvement. We've got a coffee house in Flower Mound, Texas called Cerulean Blue Coffee House that we launched last year. And just excited to be here to share.
Awesome. I definitely want to dig into both of those businesses and kind of hear why you set them up in the first place, and then maybe what the mission behind each one of those are. Because just being around you and your company, I know that you don't just do things to have a business, but you have a lot of purpose behind the things that you do. So I'd love to hear you expound on why you do things, not just for business, but also for maybe some additional reasons.
Sure. It sounds good. I had a long background in the hospitality industry, so I was in the hotel business for most of my career. And at that season where I was looking to do something different, I sourced a small home improvement company back in 2012 to start. And so, not really knowing, where God had led me, I figured, hey, if I could bring hospitality to the home improvement industry, we ought to be able to grow this small company. And so we've grown Expo Home Improvement since I bought it in 2012, pretty sizably. We're in the 4 major markets in Texas now. And when I bought the company, we did vinyl window replacements, all on the residential side. But now we do, bathroom remodels, and we do kitchen cabinet refacing as well. And so it's been a journey, and it's been a season with Expo, but it's been rewarding to see the growth of the company.
Yeah, one of the most unique things, and I believe I remember this correctly, so if I don't, then you correct me.
Okay,
but
will do.
I got to come and tour the facility a little bit not that long ago. I think it was sometime over the summer. And meet a lot of the employees that you had there, and they were all like really excited for the event, which was joining one of the Chamber of Commerce in our local area here in DFW. But one of the people in attendance really stuck out to me because out of all the clients that I've kind of helped over the years and all the different people I've got to meet, I think that this is something that was unique for something that I've seen before. And I believe they were your very first client. It was a couple there, and they actually said a few words at the event, and that just really spoke a lot to me, because to have somebody who's been with you for that long and for them to commit their time to attend an event like that really just spoke volumes. So did I remember that correctly?
Yeah, it's most of the story you did. So
Okay.
we moved into a new corporate campus in Farmers Branch, Texas. And so we did that the first part of the year. So this spring we had, kind of a ribbon cutting, and we had the city of Farmers Branch, and they've been a great partner with us there. But early in my journey, when I first bought, was called Window Expo at the time, I had 2 back-to-back customers within a week period of time when we were going through a really difficult period. And so both of the last names were named Brown by chance. And so they were able to come to that event because I just wanted to thank them because this is going back to, 2013, 2014. And they could kind of understand that the anguish that was on my heart at that time. And both families just started praying incessantly for the success of the company. And so they would always check in with me over the years. We became friends, and I just wanted them to see and experience what they were part of through that growth process, and now seeing our new corporate campus in Farmers Branch. It was a special day for us.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's one of my favorite parts about working with clients over the years is these people that you get to help and you get to make a difference for what you do in your business, but then also working together year after year, you develop this friendship and this relationship with these people, and it just becomes a lot more than just, in your case, installing stuff in their home, in my case, preparing a tax return.
Correct, yeah.
But to me, that's the thing that really makes a difference and is special to me. So,
yep. And that's our vision for Expo Home Improvement, is improving homes and transforming lives. So, we're not just there to do a home improvement project. A lot of times people have saved for a long period of time, for this project. we're going into a personal situation. It's their home, and so we just want to be respectful of them. But then, where we can build relationship over time, that's really where our heart lies as well.
Yeah. So you've mentioned that there's been ups and downs in the business side of things, and that's any business has ups and downs.
Oh yeah.
So when you first purchased the business, kind of give me an idea of like how big was the business at that time? Did it have lots of employees? You said you're all over Texas now. Was it just in Dallas at the time? What exactly did it look like when you bought it, several years back?
Yeah, in 2012, literally there was like 5 employees at the time, and a small company doing about $2.5 million a year in revenue, primarily focused on the northern part of Dallas County, Collin County, and things of that nature. And so today we're in 4 locations, 300 team members, and then with the addition of baths and kitchens, we're a sizable company today. And it's been a process. It's been a journey for sure. I think some of the biggest struggles and challenges early on, it's when you're ready to do something, you just need to make sure that you're well capitalized, and that you don't get ahead of your vision and your plan. And so sometimes I think as entrepreneurs, we may want to get out and ahead of things too quickly. But my guidance for anybody that's thinking of doing anything is just make sure you got your plan in place, make sure you're well capitalized, that you can kind of be in it for the long run.
Yeah. I think that there's definitely having that good plan, being ready for things is so important. Sometimes people get hung up and they get too scared, and I think I hear a lot of times, oh, well, just do it. And there's some truth to that. But at the same time, you don't want to just wake up and think, I want to do a home improvement business and then just do that. You should probably put a little more thought into it than just going for it right out of bed that morning.
Absolutely. There's a lot to it, that's for sure.
So I think I understand it correctly, and I want you to kind of expand on this. But being a $2.5 million business back then, and home improvement or housing in general is a huge sector in the United States market.
Yeah.
So it's got small guys, it's got big guys, and I feel like a lot of times the little guys, it can be difficult to get out there and to find clients because maybe you're not as well known, because you're not as big, or you don't have the resources. Was there some difficulty there when you were that size? Was it easier because you were smaller? What was your experience being that size business?
When we first started out, I mean, it all comes down to the customer experience and customer service. And as a small company, just as a big company, you have to commit to that. So what we really relied upon heavily early on was just, making sure that each job was done, correctly, that the customer was satisfied, and really focused on that referral business where, if you're going to do a good job for somebody, we rely upon them to refer, friends and family and things like that to be able to get the same level of experience. So when we continued to win, day after day on the delivery side, then that's where, lead generation and finding new customers became easier over time.
Yeah. And was a lot of that, like that personal side of it where you kind of learned these things, was that developed within the hospitality industry? I listened to a lot of podcasts about hotel lines and, the Four Seasons line or, the Hyatt lines or various ones, and kind of different strategies that they do. But, customer service in any hotel is extremely important.
Yes.
Was that something that you kind of developed being in that space?
Yeah, I think hospitality is just something and a gift that you're born with. And so people, if they have a heart to serve and to serve others, a lot of times there's a lot of great people that kind of gravitate towards that area in the hotel business, in the restaurant business. And so bringing, that similar thought process into home improvement was really mission critical for me. And so, we've got an amazing culture at Expo Home Improvement now. And I think the core basis of that is, we're developing these hospitality leaders within our company that just want to serve our team members and serve our customers well.
Yeah. Do you have like specific team members that's like their title or their role, that they're like hospitality leaders, or is that just kind of a general everybody has that within Expo Homes?
It's really thread through training and development that we have for all of our team members. We've got leadership core values or leadership guiding principles as well that we train on with our team members. And so one of the unique aspects of what we do is we actually have a chief ministry officer at our company. And so a lot of his leadership and development that he focuses on is on just, core characteristics of how you lead and lead well. And so that really is what kind of helps to fuel that hospitality spirit in our team members.
Yeah, I know that my firm and your business have had a connection with that particular person.
Yes.
So I'd love for you, because we've never talked about it, just to expand on who that person is within the company and outside of the company, and why you even decided to have this person in the first place.
Sure, absolutely, Troy. The let me first back up and talk about the journey a little bit. So as you're a young entrepreneur, the struggles and the challenges are real as you grow any business. And so early on, it's the cash demands, it's finding the right talent, finding the right people that want to be part of the culture and part of the organization. So early on, as I'm kind of filtering through, what that looked like, the first year was really difficult in terms of probably the first 18 months or so. Mm-hmm. And so it was on my faith journey early on after purchasing the company where it really became this surrender of, why did I, leave an industry and a career in the hospitality industry where I was very successful to now, buying this small company and watching it grow. And I just had a full surrender moment where, it's all the resources belong to God. And that was really one of those pivotal points early on in the development of what we're doing today, was like to surrender, my stewardship of the company really to Christ, and let him lead through the organization and the company. And so I'm the steward of the assets that we're entrusted with. And so, kind of fast forward along that journey, when we got large enough and we wanted to be able to go out with the resources we've been entrusted with to make a bigger impact. We hired Scott Hall as our chief ministry officer. And so he's been a seasoned pastor for 30 plus years. And now he holds that title at Expo Home, but he also leads the nonprofit that we founded called Collective Way. And so just having somebody on the inside of the leadership team to be able to counsel and guide our team members, and he's been on board for about a year and a half now. It's been an absolute game changer for us.
Does he just help the team members within the business? Does he also help clients without or outside of the business? Kind of what does his day-to-day or week-to-week look like?
Yeah, with Collective Way, we're really a combination of we pour deeply into 6 or 7 different nonprofits, and so he walks hand in hand with the CEOs, provides some of that same leadership training that he provides to Expo Home team members. He provides to the leadership teams at the nonprofits that we support. He's actually traveling out of country on Wednesday down to Guatemala with Michael, the president of Expo Home Improvement. So we walk really deeply with those organizations that we love to be able to support. Mm-hmm. And then we're also aligning with other business leaders and business organizations, and that's really why we call it the Collective Way. It's a collective of businesses and nonprofits really kind of doing life together, where we can go out there and make, for us it happens to be a global impact because of the nonprofits that we support in other parts of in other countries and things like that as well.
Yeah. Well, so I get kind of the calling and the wanting to do more for the kingdom side of who you are as a person, Paul, because you don't know this about me, but my dad's a pastor. So I've been around the spiritual side of feeling the calling of God within a certain aspect and praying about it and making sure it's the right decision. And it sounds like that's a lot of what happened when you were deciding to do Expo Homes. But then part of it is also just breaking down the practical side of it, and does this make sense for you and your family? So like you said, you had a pretty good career within the hospitality space, and then for some reason you decided, hey, let's give up all this security to branch out into this thing called entrepreneurship and betting on yourself. Was that something that you felt like was always part of who you are? Was it something that changed in a specific moment, all those years ago? What was that transition like?
Probably, into maybe 2008, 2009, I felt called, to go into business for myself, ministry for myself. And it wasn't until I actually got let go from my position in April of 2012, because I probably would have never left the position unless God had released me from that opportunity. Mm-hmm. And so within that opportunity, I had 4 young kids at home, traveled all the time. And it was just one of those opportunities where it was like, okay, I felt called to make a pivot. And then once I had done the due diligence on this company called Window Expo, which had been in business since 2006. So we're coming up on 20 years that company's been around. I bought it in 2012. It was really just a pivotal moment of just, okay, corporate life is behind me now, and now it's time to focus on this next path. And I really had that entrepreneurial calling where it was all in to make sure that this company was going to be successful. And it's been a journey. It's been incredible.
Yeah, you and I have a similar experience, and by that I mean, I think a lot of our younger listeners may not understand this, but I'm sure the older ones do, where sometimes things that are really difficult in life, such as you being let go, and that's exactly what happened to me before I ended up where I'm at, where it just wasn't a good fit, and they kind of expressed to me that, hey, we wanted to fit you somewhere in the company, but it wasn't a good fit, and we're just going to have to let you go. And it seems like this terrible thing at the time, but I've seen the success that you've had with Expo Homes and the difference you're making within people's lives, employees and clients and stuff. And I like to think that I help out clients where I can too.
Absolutely.
And I think it's hard for people to see the light at the end of the tunnel sometimes, but it's not always bad to have difficult things such as a firing within life.
Yep.
So.
Yep. And that's what happens. You walk through the valleys, and that's exactly what it is. You're not paused in the valleys. You're walking through the valleys, and so there's light on the other side. And we don't always know the reasons. We don't always know the answers. But at the end, hindsight, after you look back, I was like, okay, this is why we're doing what we're doing.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened to me. Yeah. So back when you first started and then transitioned to today, I've heard you guys talk a little bit about this at that event that was at, but you went from you owning the company to ultimately bringing on a partner.
Correct.
I'd love to hear like the why of bringing on a partner, because regardless of how much you like the person or how much you have in common, there's struggles with not being just you anymore because you have to think about somebody else. I mean,
sure.
There's a lot of things that go into it. So what was that thought process for you?
Well, along that journey, Michael had been brought in as our director of sales and chief operating officer, and I've got strengths that he doesn't have, and he's got strengths that I don't have. And so, the journey of entrepreneurship can be very, very lonely at times. And so when COVID hit, that Michael and his wife Kathy stepped in as partners with me and my wife Jackie on Expo Home Improvement, it was the right fit. It was the right time. I think the biggest single thing was we're kingdom aligned in terms of why we're doing what we're doing, and we agreed upon how we were going to run the business for His kingdom and give back to the kingdom. And so there was an alignment at that level in terms of what we needed to do. And so with my with my thought process, where all the resources belong to God, it was really just inviting Michael and Kathy into something that was pretty special. And there's been an alignment, and we're 5 years into our partnership relationship, and we haven't had a day that's gone by that there's been conflict.
That's great.
The partnership level. Now, running the business, you got differing opinions and things like that. It's not always, a stress-free relationship or stress-free environment with our leadership team. But at the end of the day, we've not had any partnership conflicts.
Yeah,
to speak of.
I've listened to Annie talk about that, who's our managing partner.
Yeah.
And, that was one thing that she said at the very beginning was, okay, I understand we're not always going to have the same opinion on different things that should be decided, but at the end of the day, we will work through them together. And that's just how partnership is.
It is.
Everybody has a different opinion. And like you said, it's almost like an iron sharpens iron type situation where each one of us brings a unique skill set. And with that, you can build a pretty incredible company.
Yeah, and you can go further together. And so one of my mentors, one thing he was talking about with me at one point was, it's when you bring in other leadership folks into your organization, it's really an opportunity, for their full leadership talents to be heard, but also to be realized. And so what we're building is something sizable and scalable with our organizations. And so it takes other people being able to step into that with additional vision to be able to grow at the appropriate level. And you want to see them be able to grow and develop as well.
Yeah. I hear differing opinions from the guests, and I think a lot of times it's kind of one of two extremes. Either people have mentors or they don't. And then depending on which direction they fall within that frame kind of changes how they, I guess, develop or try to help people, etc. It's cool to hear that you've had a mentor. Tell me, what was that experience like? How did you find that person? Were they already in your life, and how have they helped you along the way?
Yeah, I would say it's probably only been in like the last 5 or 6 years. I've had 4 gentlemen that are all older than me that we've just connected. And so they love the journey, that God has me on, and they just impart wisdom in me whenever we have an opportunity to kind of meet, and I listen. And so I think too often in that early journey for me, it was, entrepreneurialism is a lonely journey because, you can't really share everything with your team members that you're going through. You think you're in it alone, although, the guy next door, the gal next door to you is going through very similar things. And so it's hard to share and be open. And a lot of times the struggle is so real that you don't necessarily want to burden your spouse with some of the things that you're thinking. And it was just time for me. It just happened to be these older gentlemen that were able to really pour into my life with a wisdom standpoint. And it's not that we spent a lot of time together. It's just they were directed along my path at just the right time, where I was receptive and open to really hearing from them. And more so, it was the encouragement that they spoke into me along that journey that really means the world to me.
Yeah. It's really, really cool to hear. So is there anything maybe that is a hardship that you've gone through? Because like you've said, one of the parts or purposes to me of the podcast is to share that like it isn't a lonely journey, and to give not only tips, tricks, but also give validation to these entrepreneurs that are struggling, just to say, hey, if you keep fighting, you'll get there. These people have been there. They know what it's like, and to let them know that they're not alone. Is there any moment that was really difficult for you over these years that you come to mind that you might want to share, of like, hey, this is what happened, this is how I overcame this, whether it's through a mentor or an employee's help or anything like that? Is there a specific thing that comes to mind?
Yeah, for me, I go back to that first year, and that was the most difficult time because it was just being a handful of folks, and you're burning cash left and right. I had left a comfortable job or career opportunity, and it was the struggles of meeting payroll and where the next sales coming from and employee challenges and things like that. So that really was the most difficult period. And for me, it was really my faith group of individuals that kind of came alongside of our family at that point in time, just to be there to support us and to hold us up. And so what ultimately happened then, it was that surrender moment, as I called it, where I realized I'm just the steward of this asset, and I surrendered ownership to God. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, okay, from that point forward, the struggles were real and the challenges were real, but there was always a comfort in knowing that the solution was already before me. And it was just a question of seeking that out and being patient to find what that solution was. And so with that surrender moment, that's where the mentors come in over time and things like that. And the right people just have come along in the journey. And the right team members have joined our family at Expo Home Improvement as well. And so we have an incredible culture, incredible team members that are on this journey together and are committed to our vision and our mission.
Yeah, I think that a lot of times, and my friends even talk about this, being like younger guys, sometimes it's hard to open up about the difficulties, like emotionally, with these types of things. When you were going through those hardships, was it something that you just were completely open with those faith-based individuals just because you trusted them? Did you deal with the struggle of being open and expressing yourself at that time? Or
early on, it was just I held way too much in and just kind of fought the journey, by myself. And I wish I'd known, now what I knew then, and I would have been a lot more open with other people and shared with other people. And I think just, since that period of time, though, over the past 13 years or so, there does seem to be some incredible opportunities that are out there for young entrepreneurs right out of the gate to be able to pour into. This podcast is a great example of that. There's so many great organizations. There's one called Faith Driven Entrepreneurs that's out there that people can tag in with other leaders on their journey. And so there seems to be a lot more resources in today's environment for entrepreneurs to be able to seek that out and start their journeys off, on a better footing than I probably did back in the day.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see kind of the business world and the culture in general kind of shifting to having lots of resources, having people being open about their experience and stuff. So, Paul, you've talked a lot about your faith and the different areas of how that's important to you. Is that something that's necessarily, has to be for an employee or a customer that you're looking for, or is it kind of something that you like to share with anybody that you come in contact with?
Yeah, that's just my personal journey, and that's part of my story of who I am. And so for Expo Home Improvement, you don't need to be a Christian or have the same faith background that I have. We're really, truly, for customers and employees, welcoming to everyone and respect their opinions and their values and their beliefs, and just as we ask them to respect, ours as well.
Yeah, I think that's good in general for, people to just respect each other and try to understand that not everybody has the same opinion. Even within the Christian faith, there's all kinds of different opinions on specific areas. So it's really awesome to hear that not only do you work with people who have the same mindset as you, but, you respect those who have a different mindset as well. So
yeah, I think that's well said. I think it's just mutual respect, and we'll do a great job for our customers, and it's been an incredible journey with our team members. When there are opposing opinions and differences as well that we can talk through.
I want to dive into specifically Expo Homes and kind of ask some specific questions towards that. So I love real estate investing in general. And my wife and I are always thinking of, what can we do to our home to improve it?
Yeah.
Whether that be, just we want to have something new because that's fun and exciting, or we think about what could add value, different things. So in the home improvement space itself and within what you guys do, what's maybe the most common types of home improvements that you see within the space? What do you think is the most value? What's your opinion on some of those things?
Yeah, the space that we're in definitely are all three areas that provide a lot of value to the home. So if you're going to do home improvement projects, most of the things that you do, in particular the ones Expo Home Improvement does add significant value to your home. Because if you were to sell it, people are going to have to do the improvements anyway. So as long as you made the right design selections and things like that, then you're kind of money ahead. And you get to take advantage of those home improvement projects before you sell your home. So we do window replacements. And so window replacements is one of the best returns you can get, because not only is it improving the aesthetics of most homes from the builder grade windows, but you're also realizing the energy savings, because that's real with the windows. And so anytime you can get that curb appeal, for new people coming by or potential people that are looking to buy the home, windows are a great option. And as you look at, there's cost versus value that you can look at as well. If you're going to do a kitchen remodel or a bathroom remodel, it does increase the value of your home. So that's the one thing that I really liked about going into the home improvement space, is that it is a value builder for people with the projects that they're able to do.
Yeah, for sure. So specifically on the windows, because I'm kind of curious about that, is there a way that you can quantify the savings? I know that a lot of times there's data out there that says, on average, you save this much percent on your energy bill. Right. I guess maybe the general question is, how do you guys sell it? And I asked one of the business owners on that one time, and he was like, Troy, I haven't had to sell things in a long time. Yeah. But, going back to the early days, maybe Paul, your sales cap on how do you guys sell those windows, and what do you tell people?
There's different tests you can do in the home where you can show them the heat penetration of their normal builder grade windows versus the energy efficient, argon filled gas windows that you have. And so, it's pretty natural to assume that, when you can feel the heat coming through, your existing windows versus the new windows that are going on, there's definitely energy savings. And so one of the best things that I had seen, I'd put new windows in my home and I saw an energy savings, right? So we've got customers that send us energy bills before and after, and they're just kind of amazed at the savings and things of that nature. But for me, I live in Flower Mound, Texas, and so we're right over DFW Airport. And so as soon as I put my new windows in, I didn't hear the planes inside of my house anymore.
Wow.
And so when you think about, how a window can take care of sound suppression from the outside. Now you don't hear your neighbor's dog barking outside and things like that. It just creates a better environment in your home as well. And that's one of the things we hear from people as well. Energy efficiency, but then just a better environment.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really cool. So is that something that you guys decided to ask specifically, I guess, with the like before and after representation? Did you guys ask for that? Did customers just provide it to you? Because I think that's one thing that I see a lot within the business world is, survey your customers so you can get the proper feedback. Yeah. So did you guys do that, or did that just come about randomly? Just
randomly. Customers would come to us occasionally.
Okay.
I haven't seen it in a little while yet. Like you said, I'm not very close to some of the customers as I would be back in the day. But it's data that's out there and available.
Yeah, that's cool. Over the last few years, I guess it's been 13 years now since you've owned the business.
Correct.
Have the home improvements like windows or bathroom remodeling or those types of things, have they changed dramatically over that 13-year period, or are they still pretty close to the same when you first started?
They're fairly close. The technology continues to improve on the window side, just in terms of the different energy efficiency and glass and things like that has definitely improved over that period of time. The products in terms of the bathroom space have continued to evolve because technology's kind of runs rampant through the technology process of the bath systems that we do put in place. And then on the kitchen side, we've gone to a manufacturer where we do cabinet refacing. And so what that means is, with your existing cabinet bases and things like that, we'll come in with a new veneer, but then we do new doors and drawer fronts. And it's the technology is incredible. And so they look amazing. And it's also a whole lot less expensive than somebody doing like a full kitchen replacement, and they get the aesthetics of having a new look in their kitchen. So
yeah, I think that's one of the things that sticks out the most. Whether it's me and my wife going through and looking at a home, or the things that I hear my friends say is, "Oh, that looks old." It's like it's not really that old.
Yeah.
It's just maybe 25 years ago, and they just immediately notice it right off the bat.
Yeah. So. Sometimes stuff's still wearing okay, but you just got to change the color or something like that. So
one thing that I sent to you, and I'd love to hear your opinion on, because I was listening to a podcast talk about it the other day, is kind of home affordability is really difficult here in the U.S. Kind of across the U.S., and there's all kinds of opinions on why that is and things like that. But they were talking about how there's certain businesses now that are trying to create homes completely different, whether that's completely concrete or 3D printing or all kinds of random things that technology's developed over all these years. And you kind of touched on it with refacing and things like that. Are there certain things within the home improvement space itself that are changing to make it more affordable for customers nowadays? And if so, what do you see changing the most?
Well, I think one of the things that changes on our front as well is just the speed at which we can do the home improvement renovation. So if we can come in and do a home improvement project, do a bathroom in a day or a kitchen in 2 days, we're saving that customer vacation time, PTO time, from not having their home completely disrupted. And so the ability to do a home improvement project in days versus weeks ultimately is a time saver and a money saver, for that homeowner as well. And as the quality of products continue to improve, it's just kind of a natural to be in and be out, and it's the convenience of having things done quickly, but done right. And that's really our focus, is get it done right, and get it done as fast as we possibly can.
Gotcha. So the fact that you guys are doing it much more or much faster now, is that kind of changing either what types of improvements people choose to do, or maybe do they try to do like more at one time, because instead of being displaced for, months at a time, maybe they do multiple rooms because it's like a couple weeks instead of, several months. Has that changed at all?
Well, in our business, we continue to grow because of that model, and so I'm not really in tune with a lot of full scale contractors, but the customers that we're serving and the customers that we're talking with, is they enjoy the fact that they can get multiple projects done, and it can be a struggle, to have a contractor in your home for weeks on end. And so I think people enjoy the fact that, it's not a do-it-yourself type of project, but we can still get the benefit of having it done, in a quick manner.
Yeah, I'm already thinking of, 3 or 4 things that my wife tells me she wants to do.
Yeah.
and I'm like, okay, it'd be much easier to just knock all of these out at one time.
Yeah.
Instead of having to a week here, a month here. That seems like a nightmare.
It is. And years ago, we before we were doing kitchens, we painted kitchen cabinets, we painted the whole home, and I had contractors in my house for about 4 to 6 weeks doing stuff. And I'm telling you, after about a week and a half, 2 weeks, I was like, all right, we've got to get back to normal here. And so, the stress that can come by tackling all these projects at one point in time, that's the other thing we'd love to be able to do, is take kind of the stress out of it, right? Let's just tackle one area, one thing, get it done, be happy, and let's move on to the next thing when that's complete.
Yeah. So
we're saving marriages here.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. We're doing all kinds of things with this business. So with the actual install itself, do you guys subcontract that out? Do you have employees that actually do the install? What is the choice there that you guys decided to go?
The majority of all of our team are W-2 employees.
Okay.
Majority are W-2 employees. There's some specialty contractors and things like that are pretty much dedicated to Expo Home Improvement that we tag into, when we need them. But yeah, we like to keep it within the family whenever possible.
Yeah. Was that like a mission and goal that you wanted to do, or is that just kind of how the business naturally developed over time?
No, a lot of the companies are still kind of in that independent contractor model. And so over time, we've just kind of gravitated with our culture that the employee model is what works best for us.
Yeah, that's awesome. So one of the other things that you mentioned is kind of the coffee shop thing, and I wanted to hear a little bit about that. So you started a coffee shop. Why'd you start a coffee shop? What's that experience been like? Tell me about it.
Well, I got to correct you because my wife's not on this. It's coffee house.
Oh, that's right. Coffee house.
It's coffee house, as she reminds me all the time as well. Back in the day when there was kind of the struggle of the turnover of the business and really becoming, the steward of God's asset, is when, I got this notion and this nudge to get back into true hospitality, and that was through coffee. And so we had launched a nonprofit early on, thinking that it was going to be a nonprofit situation. And then as the business grew and COVID happened, we never launched. Although we used that nonprofit for employee benevolence and partnering with nonprofits that we wanted to support. We ultimately, back in 2023, my daughter Jessica was graduating from college, and she goes, "Dad, I just want to bake." And so she's an incredible baker, and that's where we resurrected, this plan for the coffee house. And so we opened that in May of last year, May of 2024, in Flower Mound at Cerulean Blue Coffee House. It's big. It's 4,000 square feet. We got like 105 seats inside. So It's great space just to be able to come relax and be able to, be part of the community that's being built out of there. And so I go back to 2015, and we drew up a business plan for, the coffee house development, and where we landed is exactly what we're doing now in Flower Mound.
That's awesome.
It is. We are missionally focused. We connected with an organization called Serve Hope International, and so Originally, we were buying our coffee from them, but now we've taken that over as Cerulean Blue Coffee and the whole coffee operation. So we have direct trade relationships. I've been to Guatemala and Honduras. We know our farmers. We now roast our own coffee as well. And for every 10 pounds of coffee that we serve, we donate a water filter system to a family in need in Guatemala and Honduras. And so since May of last year, we're already at 1,215 water filters. And so we're making a huge impact in the areas that we serve, and it's been a blessing. So we're gonna continue to grow that brand, and we hope to be able to service more office buildings and churches and things like that as well with Cerulean Blue Coffee.
Yeah, I really like having the whole secondary mission there because we've recently started tracking how we're benefiting clients and trying to count that over the years. And I think it puts a lot more purpose behind what you're doing and not just sitting there, in our case, pushing out numbers. And in your case, just handing out coffee. And I think it really makes a difference not only to the employees, but also to the customers, in my opinion, to see that you're trying to make a difference in the world. So,
yeah, we are. And Collective Way, the nonprofit that we launched, in addition through the water filters with Serve Hope. We took a mission team of 22 from Expo Home Improvement in August. We built 5 homes in 4 days. So now we're partnered with Serve Hope to hopefully get more organizations interested in traveling to Honduras and building homes in that country. And the organizations that we support, we definitely invite our team members into it, and they're fully in the know of who we're supporting and why we're supporting them, and it's been incredible.
That's amazing. What was the experience like to go to these different places and try the different coffee beans and see the cultures? What was that like?
When I've got a picture in my office of Timoteo, who's our farmer in Guatemala, when I'm standing in the field, with all the coffee around me, shaking his hand, and now that coffee is sitting in my office because it got harvested and brought in this summer. It's changing the world on multiple levels because now we're making sure that the farmers are getting properly taken care of in terms of compensation, and that there's no human trafficking or slave labor involved in the processing of any of the coffee, because we've got those relationships from literally the field all the way through the roasting process for us. And it's great to be able to see the impact when we go in country, and for us to for the Expo Home team members that went to Honduras last August, they're really seeing the impact when you're building homes and giving this generational gift to families that like living in a chicken coop next door to the home that we built for them. It'll change your life.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Is that, I don't know anything about coffee, so I'm just asking the questions here. Is that something that's really difficult within that industry, is kind of maybe the poverty of the actual farmers themselves and not being treated fairly, and then going into labor that shouldn't be or wouldn't be allowed here within the U.S.? Is that all common, I guess?
Yeah, when you look at the sheer volumes of coffee that gets consumed, and then the price per pound of what you're able to buy some of the lesser quality coffee for, there's a reason for that, and typically it's the farmers that are getting squeezed, and it's not right. Yeah. And so they're entitled to make a fair wage, and where and who you buy your stuff from matters. And so we're just trying to look at the supply chain of what's within our control, and always make the best decisions in terms of where we're sourcing product from. Yeah,
well, it sounds like you have a deep desire to try to do right by the people that you work with, and that's important to you and dear to your heart. And maybe sometimes that might be easier said than done with specific people, one of those being sounds like your daughter. So what has that experience been like with working with one of your kiddos, and has it been frustrating? Has it been fun? Has it been a mixture of all kinds of emotions?
Well, I've got 2 daughters that are in the business. So my older daughter, Samantha, she's our marketing manager for Collective Way and for Cerulean Blue Coffee House. And then Jess, she's my our chief baker at Cerulean Blue Coffee House. It's been exceedingly rewarding to be able to watch them grow and develop and pour their hearts into the business. And so, everything that we've worked so hard with Expo Home, now one of the byproducts of that is now being able to grow the Cerulean Blue brand And really what it is, you know, the culture that we have at Expo in terms of taking care of our customers and our team members now just has a hospitality spin by being able to do that through the coffee house environment that we have. So, you know, I know part of an entrepreneur's struggle is, you know, how do you balance family and work and everything that you want to do. And there's a great book by Ken Eldridge called The Integrated Life, where you bring faith into your work environment. But I talk with my daughters all the time that, you know, it brings your work environment into it and your personal into it. So in this day and age with technology and the world moving as fast as it is, if you can't balance an integrated life, you're not going to be successful. So you need to create, you know, the right boundaries on the personal side. But for us, the missionality of Cerulean Blue, and seeing the reaction from customers, because what we're doing is something completely different and unique, we feel, it's been rewarding.
Yeah.
It's been very rewarding.
Do you think that piece of you who has the hospitality desire and want to treat people right and be great was ultimately passed down to these two daughters of yours, and that's kind of one of the reasons why they were so interested in becoming part of the coffee house?
I believe with Jessica, yes, it was. And then Samantha was on a different journey, but, you know, kind of focused on journalism and social media. And so marketing kind of fit into what she's doing. And then my wife has a merchandising background as well. So my wife is involved in the business and part of the design of what we're doing. And, you know, we've got big plans for our merchandising expansion moving forward. And that's where I know my wife's going to have a passion for the merchandising side of Cerulean Blue. I got a couple younger kids. Josh, he's a food runner there and coffee delivery guy. And my other daughter, she works in the kitchen. So Aaliyah, she's 16. And so it's a family affair now. So we're all together. Good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah, that's really fun. So I think one of the things that a lot of entrepreneurs can definitely relate, and especially those who work with either family or their spouse directly, is, like you said, kind of differentiating and keeping work separate at certain points and not just, you know, going home and talking about it and going to sleep talking about it. Are there certain like things that you guys specifically implemented to push yourself from working 24/7 to actually have some relationship time?
Still working on that one. So we're new enough into Cerulean Blue, being about a year and a half old, where it's difficult because there's so much excitement around what we're doing, and there's so many new ideas coming at us at any given point in time. We're working on that one, but we do need to set better boundaries.
Yeah. Do you think that any of your family members will become part of Expo Homes at some point, or do you think they kind of really enjoy the coffee house business and might stay with that?
Well, I think my older daughter's definitely on the coffee house side and the nonprofit side, Collective Way, because really that's what it's about, is where we can give back and what we can do there. Too early to tell with Joshua and Aaliyah. We'll see. Maybe someday.
Maybe someday.
Michael's got a son that works in the business right now. And so maybe it's up to the Flores family to kind of step in there a little bit too.
Yeah. Let's go kind of way back to the beginning, and I'd love to hear this, and we'll kind of start wrapping up here. But, you know, you obviously have a great relationship with your family, with your kiddos and your wife. Was that kind of how you grew up, and did you have any entrepreneur people within your family? What was your growing up like?
Yeah, my parents, you know, weren't entrepreneurs, and so I think, you know, for me, it was seeing some of the struggles probably that my family had. I was the youngest of six, and so for me, it was, you know, if you're going to college, you know, go pay for it and figure out what your journey's going to be. And so I think for me, early on, it really was, you know, kind of a self-made opportunity. Like, if you want to go out there and improve your life and improve the situation from where maybe you had grown up, it was kind of in my court to move forward and do that.
Yeah. Have you tried to kind of take any of those pieces that you learned being a younger person, of betting on yourself, I guess is a good way to put it? Have you tried to instill that within your kiddos too, or how's that process been?
It's been a process, yeah. It's been a process, and I would just caution entrepreneurs that are out there. Typically, we're the mavericks, we're the go-to visionaries, and you know, you gotta check that at the door when you're coming in sometimes, and not be, you know, so hard driving. And I'm kind of preaching to myself here a little bit, and just give them the space to be them. And I need to do a better job at that. And so that's one of those areas that I can focus on.
Yeah.
Just let them be them. And even with, the Cerulean Blue, if this is where God has them and they want to be, then they should remain in that space. If they feel called to do something different, then there's definitely an openness, and they can go do wherever they're called to do.
Well, it definitely sounds like, Paul, you're very self-aware and kind of take things as they come and try to learn from them, which is a great thing. Entrepreneurs definitely struggle with working too much and becoming workaholics, especially in the early times.
Yep.
Maybe today's different. Maybe it's the same. Do you do anything specifically to kind of take care of mental and physical health? Do you try to take time for Paul to make sure you're taking care of your body too, or?
I try, not enough. Exercise is important, so I definitely try to get exercise and keep the mental side healthy. My wife and I, we love going to Florida, so at least a couple different times per year, we're kind of taking some extended time in Florida to reconnect and just, look at the ocean and just kind of decompress. So we do travel when we can and take that time away. And so I think I've known that really early on as an entrepreneur, that you need to take that time away. So while it may not be specific throughout the week, there are those respite times for vacations where it's easier to unplug, I think, for entrepreneurs if they're away from their environment. And so I think you just need to be intentional about what that looks like.
Yeah. Do you try to completely remove yourself from email, phone calls and stuff, or is there still that little bit here and there on vacation?
My wife will probably listen to this podcast, so I got to be truthful. It's really hard to disconnect.
Yeah.
And so, it's there has to be typically time each day to be able to check in and connect. And that's not to say that you don't have faith and trust in your teams, but I think more so for you as an entrepreneur, just staying in the know. It's kind of hard to disconnect completely.
Yeah, I get that.
And I think that's part of that integrated life. So if I'm going to be in Florida for 2 weeks, I could spend an hour and a half in the morning kind of doing what I have to do, and then spend the rest of the day with the family. And so you got to figure out that balance.
Yeah, I think that's wise advice. So kind of last specific thing to Expo Homes, just because I think this would be extremely helpful for anybody listening. For somebody who's looking for a home improvement company, and the obvious answer is Expo Homes, but when they're looking for somebody, what should they look for? Because who knows whether they're reputable, who knows whether they're actually what you're looking for. What advice could you give a real customer?
Yeah, my first advice would be go online and look at all the Google reviews and social reviews, and just make sure that what they say they're going to do, they're going to do. It's construction, it's home improvement. Things aren't perfect all the time, and it's how you rebound from some of your mistakes that people write about sometimes. We have a 96% done right the first time statistic, which is really, really high and pretty incredible. And so some of that 4% is just maybe a manufacturer defect or something like that gets corrected within a short period of time or something along those lines. So the other thing I would look at is a company that's privately held. Even if they're sizable, if you're privately held, you're gonna care about those customers more than a private equity company. And there's been a lot of private equity that's come into the home improvement space in recent years, and you need to be cautious of that because they're not treating their team members, and they're not treating the customers as a privately held company would.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's happening in our space too, with private equity buying up CPA firms, and I think it's making a big difference on the customer experience and the employee experience.
Yep, 100%. Yeah, there was just a large private equity play that I think it was 7 companies they rolled up, and they just shut the doors.
Wow.
Yeah, and it impacts people in the Texas market right now as well.
Wow. Let's wrap up with some fun questions, and then we'll wrap up with the big question at the end. So we've talked about your family a ton on this podcast. Outside of work, because we all know you guys love the coffee house, what's the family's favorite thing to do together?
Travel. Yeah, we're an RV family. Well, my wife and I, the kids don't necessarily like bouncing around the RV. Currently without an RV, but we enjoy just spending time together and traveling. So,
where's your favorite place that you've RV'd to?
We've gone to North Carolina. We enjoy the mountains of North Carolina. I would probably just it's Destin, Florida, because that's kind of our That's kind of my wife and I's favorite spot. Not necessarily the kids, but that's where we like to go.
Yeah, my family, actually, my grandfather bought a condo, or the rights to a condo in Panama City.
Okay,
So
very close, yeah.
Yeah, so about 30 years now, we've had the same week there at that condo.
There you go.
It's so nostalgic every time I go down there. My wife's like, I don't understand why you want to come.
Yeah.
But it's funny to hear that. So what's the future look like for Paul? Do you think you'll keep working at Expo Homes? Do you think you'll keep investing in the coffee house? What's the plan?
Well, retirement's not in my vocabulary. And so we're going to continue to grow Expo Home Improvement because we want to take care of our team members and provide growth opportunities for them and get into other markets where we can take better care of customers as well. And then we'll see where God takes the growth of Cerulean Blue. Our focus right now is to, make sure that Flower Mound is everything it's hoped to be and promised to be for the community that we're there to support. And then we'll start looking at other growth opportunities. One of the most exciting areas for me personally is really the collective way. And so we're Scott and I and those involved with Collective Way, Michael, we're excited about just discipling to other business leaders what God has entrusted us with. And so we're always open to conversations about, our relationships with our nonprofits, how we can better support them, financially, but with also larger initiatives. And so we believe and know that God is going to continue to bless the Collective Way, where we can go out and make a huge kingdom impact because of, the resources through Cerulean Blue and Expo Home Improvement. That's really what the focus is. There is no end game, and we just believe that Collective Way is going to continue to grow and develop and have a huge global impact.
Yeah, I relate to that. I don't know if I'll ever retire.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll change my tune one day, but right now it doesn't look like it.
Yeah.
And then the last question that we always like to end on is whether it's an entrepreneur that's just getting started or somebody that's on their journey, or maybe they're struggling. What's kind of the best general advice that you could give to an entrepreneur to help them along their way?
Yeah, I think as we've talked through today, really the threads are don't try and do it alone. And so make sure that there's people that you trust, that you can have conversations with, that can guide and direct you. And I think that's probably the biggest thing is too often, either we're challenged in terms of bringing up some of the struggles that we're having, but sometimes it's just easy guidance and direction that you can give to somebody else where they just aren't seeing it. Because I think too often as an entrepreneur, you feel that your path has been set before you, when the reality of it is sometimes you just need to pivot a little bit, and it's hard for some people to make that pivot or that shift, and they kind of get blinded by what they thought the original direction for the company would have been.
Yeah. When
I bought Window Expo, it was windows. I didn't even have a different product line in my sights. And so within 6 months, I was selling bathrooms. And so just be open along the journey to whatever else may come your way.
Yeah, that's great advice, Paul. Thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah,
it's been great.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.